I mean, I don't know exactly like what you're going to be comfortable talking about, but everybody keeps saying that you were the trigger man. Is that accurate?
Next question.
Can't talk about that.
Can't talk about that.
Why did he end up getting shot anyway? Like, why? Especially
I don't feel like the drugs was part of the situation. I just feel like, I don't know, we was just kids being kids from the hood. Too much movement. That's all, too much movement.
Pop Smoke's case just took a shocking new turn. The person linked to his situation is now reportedly at the center of fresh street drama after being caught slipping by some New York crews. And it's not just anyone. It's the same guy who managed to dodge a serious sentence years ago because he was too young at the time. For months, he's been acting wild online, trolling Pop Smoke's name, dropping disrespectful comments, and even going on podcasts talking about the whole thing like he was untouchable. But word on the block is that his confidence didn't last long. Once certain people heard what he was saying, things started shifting fast behind the scenes. And if that wasn't already insane, what happened next involving the brother of one of the other people in that same situation took things to another level. Sources claim he was found in a strange way near the beach, leaving everyone confused and talking nonstop online. This whole situation feels unreal, but people everywhere are discussing it right now. So let's rewind a bit for anyone who doesn't know the backstory. February 19th, 2020. That's the day the music world lost Pop Smoke, one of Brooklyn's most promising stars. He had that raw energy, that ambition, that sound that could move an entire crowd.
Pop Smoke was known by some of the biggest names in the business, like Nicki Minaj and 50 Cent. His murder has stunned fans everywhere.
Everybody's talking about it. Police say suspects broke into his home and shot.
Pop Smoke was only 20 years old when his life was tragically cut short during a break-in at a home in the Hollywood Hills. Such a heartbreaking moment for the entire music world. Pop had that spark, that star power that made everyone believe he was the next big icon, and then suddenly, it was all gone. Authorities later brought in 5 people connected to what happened that night, and the part that shocked everyone most of them were still in their teens, just kids who thought they were about to pull off something quick without realizing how serious things could get. One of them, the one people online kept calling the main person involved, was only 15 at the time. Because of his age, when he later admitted his role in juvenile court, he didn't face a lifelong sentence. Instead, the system sent him to a youth facility until he turns 25, and that's it. No heavy punishment, no long-term accountability that matched the weight of what went down. Many people felt that wasn't real justice at all. Fast forward to him being released, and this is where everything starts getting wild again. The same young man started showing off online like nothing ever happened, trying to move around freely, posting like he was untouchable. He really thought that just because he did his short time in juvenile lockup, everything would blow over. But New York had other plans for him. The city doesn't forget, and it definitely doesn't let disrespect slide. But before diving into what happened when he came back, let's talk about why Pop Smoke's passing hit people so hard. Because it wasn't just another tragedy in the rap game. Pop Smoke was transforming the entire New York hip-hop scene in real time. He didn't just make hits, he shifted the culture. He took Brooklyn drill from the block straight into the mainstream spotlight, and no one had ever done it like that before. Tracks like Welcome to the Party, Dior, and For the Night weren't just songs. They were street anthems blasting out of every car, every party, every corner of the city. Pop had that voice and that deep, raw, gravelly sound that made you stop and listen. You heard it once and you knew exactly who it was. He carried himself with that star energy, that rare confidence that made major names in the game want to work with him. Travis Scott, Nicki Minaj, Quavo, they all saw his potential and wanted in on his wave. And what's even crazier, Pop was just getting started. His posthumous album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, dropped after he was gone, and it went straight to #1, holding down the charts for weeks. That's the kind of power he had, the kind that moves generations. People weren't just mourning a rapper. They were mourning everything he represented. The sound, the movement, the dream. So when the same young guy connected to his situation came out acting reckless, talking online like nothing serious had ever gone down, fans and the streets alike couldn't believe the nerve. You got to understand how deep the disrespect runs with this one. This isn't just about one person. It's about disrespecting an entire city, an entire movement, and millions of fans who still keep Pop Smoke's name alive every single day. The love for Pop didn't fade. His music still hits speakers everywhere, from cars in Brooklyn to clubs across the world. So imagine how people felt when this guy got out and decided to run his mouth instead of laying low. Instead of moving in silence, showing some humility, or even trying to disappear from the spotlight, this dude jumped right into interviews, full-blown podcasts, talking about the situation like it was just another story to tell. No emotion, no respect, no remorse whatsoever. He started giving details, acting casual about things that changed lives forever, and that's what made it sting even more. One of the wildest moments came when the host asked him straight up about that night, trying to find out if it was something planned or just a situation that went left. And his response? Man, it shocked everyone. He said, "It was a robbery. Nobody sent us there. Nobody did none of that. That's all false information. It's a lot of pages. That's like giving out false information on YouTube. They don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing. Y'all just assuming and y'all just putting together as y'all going around." The way he said it, calm, almost laughing, had people furious. Fans were like, how could he talk about it like that?
How would you describe what was going on that night? Maybe even just like take us through the day if you want.
Well, I'm not finna get into detail about too much, but it was a robbery. Nobody did none of that. That's all false information. It's a lot of pages that's like giving out false information. YouTube's like the vlog, false. Like they don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing y'all talking about. Y'all just assuming and y'all just putting shit together as y'all going around.
This dude is out here talking about one of New York's most loved artists like it's nothing, like he's just chatting about what he had for breakfast. No emotion, no sense of remorse, just this cold, matter-of-fact tone that rubbed everybody the wrong way. It was wild to see someone speak so casually about something that heavy. He's on these platforms trying to set the record straight, acting like he's some kind of expert on the situation, not like someone who was actually involved in it. And just when people thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. The interviewer brought up all the YouTube videos and the media coverage surrounding the case, and his reaction had fans stunned. He said, the way they bring up the situation and they be saying like, rest in peace to them, they be disrespectful. I don't know. I just feel like if that was my boy and they're posting them and speaking on a situation like that, I feel like you my op too. That statement had the internet on fire. People couldn't believe the audacity. Instead of showing respect to Pop Smoke's legacy, he flipped it into something petty and defensive.
And like the way they bring up the situation and they be saying like rest in peace to them, they be disrespectful themselves. They be like I don't know. I just feel like if that was my boy and they're posting them and speaking on a situation like that, like I feel like you my op too.
What's the disrespectful part?
You catching this? The same guy connected to Pop Smoke's situation is out here calling other people disrespectful for even talking about Pop's passing. The irony is unreal. The fact that he's flipping the narrative like that, acting like he's the one being wronged, had everyone shaking their heads in disbelief. The audacity is off the charts. The lack of self-awareness, absolutely mind-blowing. He's sitting there with a straight face, talking like he's some misunderstood figure, while fans everywhere are still grieving Pop Smoke's loss. It's one of those moments that makes you wonder if he even realizes what he's saying. Then, when the interviewer starts asking him how they even found Pop's address that night, because there had been a lot of online talk about one of Pop's homies, Mike D, accidentally posting a photo outside the house with a gift bag showing the location. The guy suddenly switches up. He says, that part I can't speak about because I don't know how the address got found. I don't know. I'm not going to say a lie to nobody.
But they be putting it together with like saying that there was, a bag with an address that was posted online. There was a photo of him and his friend where you could see the address in the background. Is a lot of that not true? It's just people putting shit together after the fact?
Oh, that part I can't speak about because I don't know how the address got. I don't know that part. So I can't even speak on that. I'm not finna share a lie to nobody.
Then out of nowhere, he drops one of the wildest statements of the whole interview. He straight up admits, I didn't know him at all. I didn't know of him. I'd probably seen one picture of him before, and I thought he was a model. I was like, he got a good modeling career going on. That line had everyone completely stunned. Fans couldn't believe their ears. How could he speak so casually about someone who had such a massive impact on the city and the culture? The way he said it, like Pop Smoke was just some random face he scrolled past online, made people furious. It showed just how out of touch and careless he really was about the weight of what happened.
I didn't know of him. I probably seen one picture of him before and like I thought he was a model. I was like, well, you got a good modeling career going on. I mean, I thought he was just on that route, but then all this happened. I'm like,
a model, bro? Seriously? He really thought Pop Smoke was a model. Didn't even realize Pop was one of the hottest rappers in the entire game at that moment. The same artist who had the whole city lit, dominating charts and carrying New York on his back. That alone had fans stunned, but then he kept talking like nothing was wrong. He went on saying, all of this happened. I'm like, I wake up in the morning, I don't wake up, I didn't go to sleep, I'm just like, damn, I'm just lost. Lost? That's what he calls it. You take someone's life and the only thing you can say is that you felt lost. People watching were furious. That's the kind of remorse he's showing. That's his version of accountability.
I wake up in the morning, I don't even wake up, I didn't go to sleep, I'm just like, damn, I'm just lost.
But yo, things get even crazier when you really start breaking down what he said in these interviews. The interviewer didn't hold back. He asked him straight up, were you the one who pulled the trigger? And what does this guy say? Next question. That's it. No denial, no emotion, just a slick dodge like he's playing chess instead of owning up to something serious. That response had everyone like, wait, what? Because let's be real. That's not a denial, fam. That's basically him confirming it without actually saying the words. He's trying to play it smart legally, keeping himself safe from saying too much on camera, but everyone could read between the lines. He keeps it moving like it's just another awkward topic at a family dinner, brushing off one of the most serious questions he could ever be asked. Then he starts explaining more about what supposedly went down that night. And this is where his story starts tripping over itself. He claims nobody was intended to get hurt. Nobody was intended to get hurt that night. But then he contradicts himself almost immediately, saying there was too much movement going on. The interviewer jumps in, asking what he means by too much movement, and the kid explains, movement from Pop Smoke, movement from everybody in the house, too much going on. It wasn't intentionally, we wasn't on that. That part had everyone shaking their heads because if nobody was supposed to get hurt, why even mention all that too much movement stuff?
Everybody keeps saying that you were the trigger man. Is that accurate?
Next question.
So which is it, bro? Was it some kind of accident or did things get out of control because there was too much movement? Those are two totally different stories, and the fact that he can't keep them straight while casually talking about a situation that's serious. That's what really had people furious. It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Calm, careless, like it didn't mean much at all. Then it gets even more unbelievable. He actually admits he was high that night. He says, I was off a perk, so I wasn't really fully aware of anything. Like what? So you're telling everyone you went on a robbery mission while under the influence, not even in the right state of mind, and then something irreversible happened. And you think that somehow makes it sound better? Fans online were losing it? Because that's not an excuse. That's just showing how reckless the whole thing was from the start. The way he tried to downplay it made it even worse, like he didn't grasp the gravity of what he was saying. Then, when the interviewer asked if he and his crew had gone on missions like that before, he hit them again with the same line. Next question. No denial, no accountability. Just another slick dodge like he's trying to dance around the truth. It was wild to watch. The kind of interview that left everybody speechless.
Movement. That's all, too much movement. Movement from everybody. Too much shit going on. It was too much shit going on. So it's just like, it wasn't intentionally. It wasn't.
The message behind his words was crystal clear. This wasn't their first time trying something like that. They had been out here moving reckless, thinking they could just pull off quick robberies and walk away untouched like the streets wouldn't catch up eventually. That kind of attitude showed how careless and overconfident they really were. When the interviewer pressed further, asking if they knew anyone inside the house that night or if someone had possibly set Pop up, his tone shifted a little. Suddenly, he sounded more sure of himself. He said, nobody, backdoored nobody. I know that 100% for sure. Nobody backdoored nobody. That female, I can't speak too much on it, but she don't know what she's talking about at all. That line got people talking instantly. The way he repeated himself, almost like he was trying to convince everyone, made folks suspicious. And when he mentioned that female and brushed it off like it was nothing, it only raised more eyebrows.
Have y'all gone on missions like this before?
Next question.
So he tries to clear up all those backdoor rumors, but he does it in the most disrespectful way possible. He's talking like he's doing everyone a favor by setting the record straight, instead of realizing he's the reason Pop Smoke isn't here today. The tone, the delivery, everything about it rubbed people the wrong way. It felt like he was more interested in controlling the story than showing any real sense of guilt or understanding of what he caused. But then things go from bad to flat out unbelievable.
Let's clear that up. Nobody, I know that 100% for sure. Nobody backdoor, nobody. That female, I can't speak too much on it, but her, she don't know what she's talking about.
After doing these interviews, instead of laying low and staying quiet, he hops on social media like he's some kind of celebrity, posting on Instagram, dropping subliminal captions, acting proud, like the attention he was getting made him feel famous. He really started moving like being tied to Pop Smoke's name was a badge of honor. That's when people completely lost it. The streets were watching everything. Every post, every story, every time he went live, all of it was being saved, screenshotted, and talked about. Because one thing about New York, if you ever go against one of their own, you better move wisely. You gotta walk like every corner could be watching, because truth is, they probably are. Pop Smoke wasn't just another artist. He was Brooklyn. His music was the heartbeat of the city. From Brownsville to Bed-Stuy, everyone felt that energy. Dior had the whole city doing the woo walk, and Welcome to the Party became the soundtrack for every block, every club, every late night celebration. Pop carried that real New York spirit, and when someone takes that away, the city never forgets. And this dude, he really thought he could go on podcasts, breaking down the details like it was nothing, saying things like, we was just kids being kids. Calling it kids being kids? That's wild. Being kids from the hood doesn't excuse anything like that. Kids being kids is sneaking out the house, skipping school, maybe getting caught smoking behind the building, not running up in someone's home and changing lives forever. But he kept trying to frame it like that over and over, as if being young erased the damage that was done. It was like he wanted sympathy instead of accountability. But here's where things really started to twist. And this is the part that had the whole city buzzing. Word started spreading fast through New York that the same guy connected to Pop Smoke's case was out here moving reckless. People were seeing his interviews, watching him post like nothing ever happened, and hearing he was showing up in public without a care in the world. He was acting like he didn't have a single worry on his mind. But let's be real, this is New York, especially Brooklyn. They don't forget, and they definitely don't forgive when it comes to one of their own. Pop Smoke wasn't just another artist. He represented the city's pride. So when the streets heard this kid was walking around loose, the energy started shifting heavy. According to multiple sources, people who stay tapped into what's happening out there, the word is that he got caught lacking. And when I say lacking, I mean really lacking. He was somewhere he absolutely had no business being, probably thinking he was untouchable now that he'd done his short time. But that mindset caught up quick. Now, I can't confirm every single detail. You know how it is with street stories. There are always a few versions floating around. But what's been consistent across several sources is that something definitely went down. Word on the street is he got beat down bad. Not just a little scuffle, but a real wake-up call. The kind of beating that makes you rethink every move, every word, every post you ever made. It wasn't random either. It was the kind of message that says you can't play with certain names and expect peace afterward. People are saying this wasn't just some quick fight. This was personal. It was deliberate, organized, and cold. This was New York making it crystal clear that disrespecting their legends comes with a price. They waited, watched, and when the timing was right, they caught him slipping, made sure he understood the full weight of what he'd done. And here's the crazy part. A lot of folks felt like it was karma catching up. Not because anyone's saying payback solves things. It doesn't. And let's be real, violence never brings peace. But because the level of disrespect this dude showed was unreal. You can't take someone's life, get a light sentence just because of your age, and then pop out doing interviews like it was just a wild story from the past. That's not how it works. You can't walk around trolling on social media, acting proud of something that broke hearts across an entire city and think there won't be consequences. The justice system might have gone easy because he was young, but the streets don't care about that. The streets care about respect, about loyalty, about not crossing lines that can't be uncrossed. And this guy violated every single one of those codes. In the streets, there's no sympathy for someone who plays with a legend's name. New York, especially Brooklyn, moves by a different set of rules. And when you break those rules, you feel the results firsthand. But here's where things get even darker. This next twist had everybody talking because it showed just how deep this entire situation really runs. Remember how 5 people got arrested in connection to Pop Smoke's case? Well, one of them was a dude named Jaquan Murphy. Now, he didn't end up being charged directly in Pop's situation, but guess what? He's currently locked up again, this time for something totally different. Another serious charge in a separate case. It's like this whole story never stopped spiraling. Every name, every person tied to that night seems to have faced something heavy ever since. A real stand-up guy, right? Well, here's where the story takes a shocking and tragic turn. Jaquan Murphy, one of the names connected to Pop Smoke's case, had a brother named JTA Murphy. And what happened to him is straight out of a nightmare. On July 31st, JTA's body was reportedly found inside a 55-gallon barrel floating in the water near the Pacific Coast Highway Bridge in Malibu. Yeah, you heard that right. A barrel in the ocean. The story sounds unreal, but it's all too real. A maintenance worker was the first to notice the barrel drifting in the water. At first, he thought it was just trash, maybe something that washed up from a boat, so he tried to pull it to shore. But it was too heavy, so he left it there, not realizing the horror of what was inside. The next morning, a lifeguard came on duty, spotted the same barrel, and decided to swim out to grab it. And that's when everything took a dark turn. When authorities opened the barrel, they found JTA's body inside, and the scene was heartbreaking. Investigators immediately ruled it a homicide, and word spread fast. People couldn't believe how brutal and cold the whole situation was. It sent chills through everyone following the Pop Smoke story because the connections were just too close to ignore. Now here's what makes it even sadder. JTA was an aspiring rapper himself. He loved music. He had that dream so many young artists from tough neighborhoods share, to make it out, to use his talent to change his life. He grew up around hip hop, chasing the same kind of success Pop once had. But instead of living that dream, his story ended in tragedy. And get this, according to reports from TMZ and the LA County Sheriff's Department, investigators are looking into whether JTA's end might be linked to Pop Smoke's case, possibly as an act of revenge. That's what's got everyone talking. Investigators are now digging into whether someone connected to Pop Smoke, or even just a loyal fan who felt the system didn't deliver real justice, decided to take matters into their own hands. Let that sink in for a second. The idea that someone might have gone out and targeted one of the people linked to Pop's case in such a brutal, chilling way has everyone stunned. A body found sealed in a barrel and tossed into the ocean. That's not random. That's a message. That's the kind of dark energy that's been swirling ever since Pop Smoke's passing. People have carried that pain, that anger, that hunger for justice for years now. Pop wasn't just a rapper. He was the voice of a generation, someone who gave people hope. So, when his name keeps getting dragged through reckless interviews and careless online posts, you can feel why emotions are still running hot. And when the same kid tied to Pop's end came home and started popping up on podcasts, talking wild, acting untouchable on social media, you really think people were going to just ignore that? You think there weren't fans and street figures alike who felt like the justice system completely failed Pop and his loved ones? The frustration had been boiling for years, and his words just added more fire to it. Here's something most people outside that world don't understand. The streets got their own code. It's not written down, but everyone in that life knows it by heart. You don't brag about taking a life. You don't jump on interviews retelling details like it's a story for entertainment. You don't move around like you're proud of what you did, especially when the person you're talking about was loved by millions. This kid broke every single part of that code. He came out of lockup acting like he was invincible. like none of it mattered anymore, doing interviews, dropping quotes about that night, going on live streams like he was some kind of celebrity. He showed zero remorse, zero accountability, and absolutely no understanding of how serious his actions were. And the culture, the people, the fans, the streets responded exactly how anyone who knows hip-hop history would expect. When someone breaks the code that deep, when someone moves reckless and disrespects a legend, the response is always the same. The streets handle it in their own way. They caught him slipping and made an example out of him. Because let's be honest, the legal system failed Pop Smoke, plain and simple. There's no sugarcoating it. The person responsible only served time in a juvenile facility until he turns 25. That's it. After that, he gets a second chance at life. He'll be free, young, and able to build a new future. While Pop Smoke will never get that opportunity again, Pop was supposed to be a superstar, a global name, a voice for his generation. Instead, his story ended before it truly began. So to anyone watching this thinking they can do something terrible and then hop online later bragging about it, this is your warning. The internet doesn't forget, the streets don't forget, and one way or another you will have to face what you did. Pop Smoke's name still rings out everywhere. In the clubs, the cars, the gyms, and every hood that ever felt his energy. His music keeps living on. His influence is all over drill, all over hip-hop. Artists still shout him out, still pay respect, still try to capture that same energy he brought every time he stepped to a mic. Pop's legacy is bigger than music. It's a symbol of what Brooklyn stands for: power, ambition, and loyalty. But the man himself, the real Pop Smoke, is gone. Taken too soon by people who didn't even understand his worth. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke, a true Brooklyn legend who changed the game forever. And rest in peace to JTA Murphy, caught up in a situation that spun way beyond his control. Every life lost in this story is a reminder that choices have consequences, and the cycle of pain never leads to peace. Hopefully everybody watching this can take something away from it, because the culture is paying attention. The streets are always listening. Justice doesn't always come from a courtroom. Sometimes it comes from the energy people put out into the world. So what do you think, fam? Was that beating a message from the streets, or was it just more chaos feeding the cycle? Should the system be tougher when it comes to cases like this, especially when lives are taken? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's talk about it for real. And before you bounce, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's happening next in the culture. There's always something unfolding in the hood. And trust, we're bringing you every detail next time. Stay alert, stay safe, and remember, these streets don't forget. Peace.